Hey everybody, let's go ahead and make a butterfly with one of the blanks I got from Christ-Centered Ironworks. I start out with these blanks and I go ahead and get my chisel ready, and I essentially put a line on both sides of the center of the butterfly just to kind of split it up from one type of texture to another, because each piece of the butterfly gets its own texture. And essentially I just used a chisel, ball peen, cross peen, center punch, and my drill press for the majority of this. I did use a hand torch later on, which you'll see. But after I get the chisel lines, that's when I grab my small ball peen, and I only texture the very center of the butterfly in between the two lines I made. I like to make sure that the butterfly is textured really well. I've been playing with these for a minute and made some with lighter texture, and it seems like the more texture, the more flow, the more appealing the butterfly actually becomes, and a lot of people really enjoyed these. This one I'm actually making to finish out an order. I had an order for 3. And after the ball peen texture is all over, I went and switched to the cross peen, and I'm working essentially from the center of the butterfly as close to that line as I can get with that cross peen without going over. And I'm rotating the butterfly while trying to keep the hammer hitting in the same spot on the anvil, so it kind of flows out from the center of the butterfly on each wing. And I'll do each wing that way. The top wing, bottom wing on one side, and then the same on the other, working out from the center. And this gives it a really nice flow. Now that the texturing is done, we can go ahead and center punch the wing for the keychain. And you can avoid this part if you want to put these on flowers or something like that. You can avoid poking the hole in it. But a lot of people want these as keychains at the moment, so I had to poke a hole in these just for the split ring for the keychain. And working in this thinner material, it is pretty nice. The drill press pops right through it and makes really short work of it. And then I deburr it with my hand drill to make sure if they ever decide to change the ring out or want to do a leather string or something like that, that there's no sharp spots anywhere to worry about. And then it'll be time to give the wings a little bit more life in my swedge block and make them look like they flow a little bit better. Now that we're over at the swedge block, we just find which one it fits the best in without any overlap. Use the cross peen and just lightly tap it until it takes the same shape as the swedge. And this I just happened to think about while I was making my third butterfly. I was like, man, I wish these would flow just a tiny bit better. And I looked at my swedge block and went, those would probably be perfect for the wings. And gave it a try and really liked the outcome. You can also use different parts of your anvil to get the same effect. But after those are done, I use my scrolling style tongs to hold on to them and then give the wings a light bend. And that mark that I put in with the chisel actually helps make sure that it bends in the exact spot I want to. You want to make sure you don't cut in too deep with that, and then so it won't break off. And then I tip the butterflies bottom and top. I just tip them back a little bit. The more flow, the better. And they turn out very nice this way. But after everything's all bent the way we need to, if you're doing a batch of these, which I did a couple where I just sat them in my forge on as low as it would run, and then I would pull them out, brass brush them, put the next one in, and rotate out. But these also get cold very fast after you pull them out. And I didn't want to fire up the forge just to finish this one, which I needed. So I just decided to try to set up the torch. So I pretty much turned on the torch, locked it. So that's another good point, is that you can do smaller projects like this. A lot of the keychains that I've gotten from Christ Center Ironworks, you can do the same way with a torch. It does take a lot longer for like the thicker keychains, like I do Michigan keychains and stuff like that. It does take a lot longer for them to heat up. I think it took me 3 minutes to get one hot with this torch. But if you had like an actual oxyacetylene torch, it'd be a lot faster and wouldn't be as bad. But these butterflies are pretty good this way. If you only got to do a couple, it might be worth it to use a hand torch and not worry about using all the fuel for your forge. But essentially I bring these up to like a dull red heat, and then I will grab my brass brush. And the brass brushing doesn't need to be done at like a red heat. It's like as soon as it starts turning black, but these, they turn cold so fast that I just start brushing right away. And the brass will actually melt and adhere to the surface of the metal, and that's why we do the brass brushing. And it adds a lot to the actual workpiece you're working on. And if you need those highlights or just like the brass color, that is one thing you can do to get some of the highlights and stuff out, is use that brass brushing. But yep, you can kind of see there, you see the brass starting to come off or go onto the piece. And then I'll turn around and do the other side. And the one thing that's nice about working on a torch is you can do all the pieces individually, the different wings. So if for some reason you want brass highlights up top and a lower brass highlight on the bottom, you can literally do the top pieces of the wing and the bottom separately if you would like that kind of contrast. For me, the top and bottom wings on both sides, they can all look the same, and it makes it look really even. That's the way I like to do my butterflies. Now that all the brass brushing is done and the piece is still hot but not red hot in any way, now we're going to go ahead and go to the Johnson's paste wax. And you only want like a light smoke, you don't want it to be smoking too much. But put it in there, let some of it melt on there, and that'll kind of make the brass lock into the steel when you cool it off like that. And then I just lightly use a towel and buff with my hand the fronts and backs of the wings, making sure it's fully coated. And I do have to go back in and get just a little bit more wax for the back side because there was a dry spot, and I just lightly buff it off. But that's pretty much it. I'm going to do a pass over on the anvil when I set them down, or set it down, and then the finished products are at the end. So thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe. It's very much appreciated. If you like videos like this, please let me know down in the comments. And you guys have a wonderful day.